black Minnesota man is free after 27 years for a murder he didn't commit. Brian Hooper was sentenced to life in 1998, but the key witness recently confessed to the crime. Hooper, now 54, walked out of Stillwater Prison to reunite with his children. And rapper Young Thug is apologizing to girlfriend Mariah the Scientist after leaked jail calls revealed he was unfaithful. The private conversations, now public, sparked social media buzz. Thug posted on X saying he's sorry and willing to do anything to make the relationship work. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Chief Eddie Compass, and you're here because
I'm here to hear you.
All right, we want to hear from you. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You got something on your mind, you got a question, you got a comment, you got some kind of feedback. All of it is a game, and we'd love to hear from you. Again, 504-582-9422. For those of you who have got to get up and get somewhere, it's 7:05 a.m. So if you got a 7:15, might be tight. You got a 7:30, you're probably doing all right. But let's just keep it going. Get your stuff together. Make sure you grab your morning beverage if that's what you do, your juice, your coffee, your tea. Make sure you got your laptop. I hate when I leave home and I leave the laptop at home and I think I have it. And it's like, oh my God, Same thing with the phone. Oh my God, It's like gotta need have to have these tools, these resources to get through the day. Can't imagine going through the day without the cell phone these days.
When you look at that phone has become part of your arm. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't even think about moving out that house until you got that phone in your hand. And I think about how it was back, when we were in high school. That was unheard of, they weren't even invented yet, cell phones and stuff, but we function and we manage. But now it's become part of our daily lives. I even look at my grandkids. They got their phones, and it's like they have all kind of things on those phones to help them during the day with their school, when they're going, through their daily life. The phone is actually part of that. So,
yep.
You can't forget that.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting how things have developed to the point now where there are more and more school districts saying, "Okay, check your phone in here," so the students aren't able to have their phones during the day. But I think that's not just a withdrawal for the kids. I think that's a withdrawal from the parents. It's like, what you doing?
And a lot of times when those kids don't have that phone, it's like they get like nervous. It's like it's kind of like, oh my God. I remember when I was working at the Recovery School District, we would take the phones and those kids would like give us instructions. Look, put it right here. Don't put nobody's phone on top of my phone. And like at the end of the day, when they getting the phones back, that line was like so organized because they didn't want no problems getting those phones back.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the phones is one thing that I'd love to hear from educators how that's been going. I know it's new for some places, but it's been going on for a while in some other schools. But I'd be really curious to hear from you. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. Of course, you know there's a big date today. It is September 11th. This is 9/11. So 24 years ago, there was the horrific crashes, terrorist attacks in 3 locations. I know we often think about New York,
Right.
For obvious reasons, with the Twin Towers both going down. But there were attacks in Pennsylvania and at the Pentagon and just outside D.C. in Northern Virginia. And we have one of the best militaries in the world. Right. And so part of what makes them so good is not waiting for things to happen, but anticipating, seeing developments, using satellites to watch the ground developments and where people are moving, people who are suspected of or have been involved in things to harm this nation. But this was one that we missed. We missed a big one. So 24 years ago, this was the deadliest terror attack in the history of our nation, and Al Qaeda terrorists hijacked these 4 commercial airlines, and 2 of those crashed into the World Trade Center in New York, 1 into the Pentagon near Washington, D.C., and the 4th was downed when passengers forced it down in a field in Pennsylvania, and nearly 3,000 people were killed, and so many more injured and still living with the impact of that day.
When you look at the ramifications of that, it changed us as a world, not just as a society in the United States, because that's the first time in modern times that it was a war of a certain extent where we were attacked at home on the shores of the United States. And there are so many safeguards and protocols in place now as a result of that. And I remember vividly, because I was chief operations for NOPD, and the Super Bowl was coming here, and we handled the first major event after 9/11.
I forgot about that.
And
that's right.
And that's when the timing was just unreal. I was involved in 2 major events, Hurricane Katrina and the actual 9/11 in a much smaller capacity, but in a big capacity because we had
a major event.
And the thing was, as a chief operations, I was the point person for all these federal agencies. So what really helped me was my lifetime of relationships with the federal partners. When I went to the FBI National Academy, National Executive Institute, when I was the mayor's bodyguard, I worked with the Secret Service. So all these agencies had individuals in there who I was familiar with, who I was friends with, and I was able to use those relationships to actually, help fortify a plan that basically kept us safe. And we were the prototype for the country as it relates to handling major events after 9/11. And that just showed the strength of this city and this police department, because it went off without a hitch. And I think the practice that we had with Mardi Gras and all the festivals, Jazz Fest and thing, it came the culmination of all that knowledge, all that brain power put in one place, that we had a successful Super Bowl. And we were honored by the President of the United States for the job that we did as a police department. So, 9/11 is near and dear to my heart, just like Katrina, because, I didn't experience the actual devastation in the city of New York, but the aftermath. And it helped develop me as a leader and as an administrator in law enforcement. So, 9/11 is something that I will never forget.
Yeah, it was a heck of a day, and I've never lived in New York, but I have a family and friends in New York and around New York, and it's totally different from Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
but there was this stretch of time for hours and then days where communication was limited, and you weren't sure if your loved one, your friend, was safe or okay, or then you're able to be in touch with them, but they're not where they're or usually located for work or even their home, because the World Trade Center is a huge place, but their neighborhoods right nearby.
Right.
And it's a rather remarkable thing that happened, and we mentioned this before. I mean, so deep into the ground,
Right.
so deep into the ground with the impact of what they did, which took lots of planning on their part, and training, and learning to fly planes, and how to get around security measures, and to do it in this case for over years, to plan this one day, and to have these planes, these jets, go into different locations, and with the clear intent to kill and to really upset and destroy our markets, which was an incredible thing, because the markets were totally upset. The markets Wall Street just shut down.
Right.
And you have something like that. You might not think about it in your day-to-day life, but if you've got any money stashed away in a bank,
Yeah.
savings account, checking account, particularly if you got a 401k, then it's not just a 401k. It's like this investment in this company, this
Right.
company, this company, this company, and those stocks and bonds are moving. So it affected a lot of people who never even been in New York City.
Well, it affected the entire world. The world market was affected by that. And when you look at the United States, the greatest country in the world, we look at ourselves as being the world leader. And they showed one of our vulnerabilities at that moment. And we had to tighten our game up, which I think we have done an amazing job of coming back from that. But it lets you know that no matter what you do to prevent something, anything can happen if you basically are not vigilant at all times. And if you take the attitude that, we the best. I tell you, you get humbled a lot of time when you go through trainings. I remember when I was a tactical commander, the street crimes commander for the police department, and we really thought we knew what we were doing. And we did a training with the Navy SEALs, and I felt like a little boy, and they were grown men. You think you really know your stuff, and you think you're proficient at something until you see somebody who really is, and it kind of humbles you. And that's why, I think that was one of the best things that happened to me, because it got me on my game, where I realized that every day I had to get better. Every day I had to get smarter. Every day I had to hone my craft. And as a country, we thought we target hardened our borders. We thought we had target hardened our airports, but we were humbled, because we were penetrated. We were compromised. And it made us better as a country. It made us better from a security standpoint. And, when you look at different methodologies of securing buildings, I always look at crime prevention through environmental design. When you look at environmental factors, when you look at ingress, egress, you look at the camera systems, you look at the lack of guardianship, which is basically people. You look at the individuals that have, fencing. And you look at all these environmental factors. If any of these environmental factors have a breakdown, you can be compromised, no matter how good, and lighting, so no matter how good you are at 4 to 5, if one of them crumbles, you're vulnerable. So no matter how many redundancies we had in place as a country to stop terrorism and stop this type of attack, we dropped the ball at some point for these individuals to be able to get on that plane with those weapons. But now it's much more difficult and it's much harder. So I think, if anything good happened from that, is it made us more aware.
Yeah. So that was September 11, 2001 at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Bright sunny day. American Airlines Boeing 767 with 20,000 gallons of jet fuel. 20,000 gallons of jet fuel when it crashed into the North Tower. And then there was 18 minutes after that one, the second Boeing 767 United Airlines Flight 175 appeared seemingly like out of nowhere because people thought, what is going on with this accident with the first crash and getting worse. And then this other jet comes out of nowhere 18 minutes later, and it goes to the South Tower.
Right.
So the first one hits between the 93rd and the 99th floors, and this one hits between the 77th and the 85th floors. That is some planning to hit the one at a higher level and the other one at a higher level, but both high in the sky. But they were definitely looking to tear apart those buildings, and it was a massive exploding, and changed us for forever. There's some Homeland Security didn't even exist before then, but it's a heck of a thing. Today is that day, and we're gonna go to break in a moment. And before we go to break, want to make sure that you know that today is Thursday. This is Congressman Troy Carter Day, but the congressman is tied up this morning, so he won't be with us. So sorry to disappoint you, but we got to let the brother do his job and make his decisions accordingly. I was looking forward to having that weekly conversation with him today for a number of reasons with what's going on with the federal government in particular, and then in Louisiana. But we'll catch up with him when he is available next. We will have Sarah Lomax, co-founder and president of URL Media and president and CEO of WURD Radio in Philadelphia. That's Pennsylvania's only African-American owned talk radio station.
Wow.
The only one in the state of Pennsylvania. And she has transformed WURD into a legacy radio operation that is more of a multimedia communications company. And she's been working with Mitra Kalita on URL Media. So we're going to be talking with her soon about all things Black media, digital spaces, and looking forward to that conversation. And later, we will hear from Jess Ellen and Michelle Burton Otis. They're going to be talking about a mayoral forum that's coming up tonight. You're listening to WBOK, 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. This morning, the search for the gunman who shot and killed political activist Charlie Kirk during an event in Utah continues. The FBI says 2 people who were detained yesterday have since been released. This as local reaction continues to pour in, including from Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise, who was shot during a congressional baseball game back in 2017. He tells WDSU this latest act of politically motivated violence makes him sad, angry, and heartbroken. Then here at home, Mayor LaToya Cantrell pleads not guilty to federal charges including conspiracy and wire fraud. Last month, she became the first sitting mayor to be federally indicted. Prosecutors accused Cantrell and her then bodyguard Jeffrey Vappy of having a personal relationship and hiding that relationship, even using taxpayer dollars to fund their time together. Vappy is also charged in the indictment. He will be arraigned tomorrow. And finally, today marks 24 years since the 9/11 terror attacks, and you can show your support for local first responders by donating blood outside WDSU for the annual Battle of the Badges event. You can stop by until 3 p.m. to donate blood and show your support. And if you live on the North Shore, Crossgates Gym in Slidell is inviting you to climb stairs alongside firefighters. For every flight that's climbed, the gym will donate 50 cents directly to the Slidell Fire Department. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Lowe's.com. Former NBA All-Star Richard Jefferson was a victim of fraud. A person he hired as an assistant stole almost $5 million from him over the course of several years.
When 2008 and that financial crisis hit and everyone started checking their books to make sure everything was good, it was like, wait a second, something's not right.
While the incident could have left Jefferson bitter, in a conversation on Bloomberg, he talked about why he viewed it as a learning experience.
If you would have told me the day I got drafted that I would own my home, my mom and dad would own their home, and neither of us would have to work again, I would sign up. That's the goal, is to change your life. My life was changed, right? That's how I kept myself not being like, woe is me. And honestly, sometimes it's about your L's.
Jefferson isn't ashamed to talk about it either. He wants his experience to serve as a cautionary tale for young athletes. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the